a channeled understanding of what's going on. And this understanding is also put against, I guess, my study as a computer tech. And they're clearly showing, well, when you study computer science, starting from scratch, the first way they try to explain it to you is to parallel the computer with the human body, and everything that parallel the functions of a computer with the systems of your body, your respiratory, circulatory, skeletal, nervous system, and so on. So this is how you learn, by the correspondence, that which you know with that which you don't know. And then it turns out, as we move on with Neil deGrasse Tyson and all of those invented niggas speaking about simulation and so on and so forth in the Matrix, and then comparing the human to the simulated game, Grand Theft Auto, meaning you're just zeros and ones. The universe is made up of the same numerical pattern as the internet, blah, blah, blah. You're a computer nigga. Or at the very least, what you are, computers are made off of the same technique, the same science, the same zeros, ones, ups and downs, and the same laws. So what we do know, and this became clear, is that what you're looking at on your computer is what they call, or what is in what they call random access memory, or RAM. Meaning anything that you touch in that moment as you're using your computer is pulled into RAM off of this, a hard drive. Your hard drive is also called data storage. Data storage. And off of your data storage, whatever you choose to use, whether it be a Word document, YouTube, a game, or any application that serves in the function of your computer is 9 times out of 10 pulled off your hard drive, where it is stored at for future use or the possibility of future use. So what occurred to me a long time ago was that the concept in what they call the multiverse operates the same way. So what they generally say as a theory is that if I go to my refrigerator and I stand in front of it to make a choice for lunch, and there's at least 5 things I can have: fruit, a sandwich, last night's leftovers, just pull out some condiments and put it on a bagel, whatever, you know. And each one of these choices, just standing at the refrigerator, becomes an entire stream of life. This choice, or the possibility of any choice, including choosing not to have a snack at all, becomes a lifetime somewhere else. It's kind of weird. All right, so was this person having a life before? Or did his life start at that refrigerator? Or let's deal with greater choices of beverage. Now, how many choices you make in a day? Sitting in front of my drum machine, if I hear a sample, there's literally thousands of choices. Well, let's keep it smaller. Hundreds of ways I can take that one sample to make my finished product called the song, which means the potential for choices become almost unlimited. And all of this is a life somewhere. Where is this in for all people in all things? So there's universe and parallel universe and multi-universe and layered. When does this become saturated and to what end? It just doesn't make no sense, period. And then, but you know, you're taught God works in mysterious ways and he works beyond your mind. So it's easy to not really think about it on that level. Or if you're the scholarly type, you think NASA has it under control and you're dealing in the realm of rocket surgeons, rocket scientists. Therefore, there's things you won't understand, which is another way of saying, nah, don't think. Just accept that it might be happening because they're talking about it. But if you keep thinking this thing out, it makes to what end? Then, all right. So what I noticed is once you study one of the greatest experiments that they like to promote about quantum physics is that what you observe becomes particles, and what you don't observe are waves. No matter how you observe it, through your eyeballs, a camera, any recording device that makes anything watchable instantaneously turns to particles. Now, they explain this also through quantum physics and the game Grand Theft Auto. They said, if I'm the player, let's say the player's name is John the player, not the controller, but the actual cartoon, the actual program individual, John in the game. If he had a mind, from number one, from his perspective, the game, which only exists on a CD to us, is his universe. That's number one. Number two is they talk about how the game is programmed. The John, the player, observing the street he's on, that's when you get to see the detail. People walking, people eating shit, vendors, weather, lighting, cars, and him able to do his thing and go on missions. The next block that he's not looking over is just zeros and ones until he observes it. If he decides to turn and look or walk on that block, then that block now becomes birds, weather, food, sound, light. While the block he previously was on returns back into what? Data. So this corresponds with particles and waves. What you observe is particles. What you don't observe becomes data. So this multiverse that they're calling it is nothing more than data. All of those choices are stored up in your DNA as the possibilities of what and who you are if you choose to observe it. And that's the key. Your observation has always been the key and has always been the thing. This is how you pull yourself up by your bootstraps. So in other words, if you wanted to become a tow truck operator, you would have to read the tow truck book. You would have to see the law on it, meaning if you need your regular driver's license or a specialty driver's license, You can and would see if you can receive classes on it. You would maybe take an apprenticeship. In other words, there are ways we know to become a tow truck driver here. It seems simple. It's not really hard. There's ways to become a teacher, a doctor, a butcher, a baker, and a candlestick maker. But what we're actually doing is shifting our reality. Because if I was a employee in a mailroom who started going to school at night to learn to operate forklifts and eventually moved to be a forklift operator, I've now shifted my reality. Where the question is, did I make this reality up, or did this reality, or did this type of me exist? It might have existed because when you were working in the mailroom, you first started off as a dream. Boy, oh boy, I sure wish I could be a tow truck operator. Damn, what do I got to do? First thing you do, you talk to other tow truck operators, people who live in that reality that you're not in but want to get into. Hey man, what's life like as a tow truck operator? Hell, son, you get to walk around the city, pull your dick out, wrap it around a car, and drag that motherfucker back to the station, nigga. That's all I ever wanted to do. Well, you need the book, you need your this, you need your A+ this, you need your B over 5. Once you get that, you got to see this, got to see that, and you got to do that. You're probably going to start off doing that, and then you do this. You shift your reality. Or I made music ever since I was a kid. That's all I knew how to do. And then in my mind, I started saying, shit, do I know how to do anything else? I'm turning 29, 30, and I've never done anything else. I just feel like I need to do something. Job-wise, I had no skills. And long story short, just picked up computer books, bigger than my head, and shifted my reality and became a computer tech. So that data or that existence of me as a computer tech existed. I had to see it in my head first. That's why the concept they're talking about of all the choices you would make actually create a path. But the path is data, not me living in 1,000 lives. That's why in this particular scenario, I'm observing through these eyes. I'm here. So everything that happens through me as particles that come from the waves, or the waves being the quantum world, the particles being this material world, everything that comes from me is internalized as my data in my DNA, things for me to access. Now, how do you access it? You access it with your mind. Now, physically, because there are criteria, that's why I have to get credentials that proved I access my tow truck driving on my computer shit with my mind. But technically, I'm there. For instance, I was watching a tow truck show on A&E, and the father owned the tow truck, but all his kids, who was 9, 10, 11, knew how to move trucks and tow cars. So they are just as qualified or better qualified than most, but have no credentials to back it up. So the credentials are just what you need here to prove that you studied it. But the only thing that was accessed was these kids' mind. And it's in them. It's in them. They'll say it's in your DNA, it's in your genes. Everything is actually in you, because all of these choices, like at the refrigerator, have happened, but they're not being lives played out somewhere where another guy you're gonna meet and be like, oh shit, you're the panic who is a French fry cook. You're the panic who's a gymnast. No, but can panic be a gymnast? Yes. But it would start with me going to something people do at a young age to cultivate that reality. At my age doing it we've already agreed that that's not what it is. Society agreed with this. My black ass going, ready? Like, he started next week, but he's really good at what he does. Like, we know there's ways to access aspects of our DNA, and certain shit you should just have grown past. You know what I'm saying? Maybe not, but that's the exact point. Maybe not. How many times have you heard some old motherfucker defying something? You know, that's neither here nor there in terms of what's real. How we function in society is what makes that real, and what we agree to. And those agreements are what we need to challenge now. And that's where this is really going. How to challenge those agreements and become whatever you decide. And we in the time when that's happening easier.